NFL owners are making it easier for the Chargers to pack their bags and head north to Los Angeles. The San Diego Unified School District is celebrating diversity today with a gathering to support the rights of all students.
Pues lo tenemos que hacer. Alguien lo tiene que hacer.
And they brave dangerously deadly conditions to search for missing migrants. Tonight in part 2 of a special series, What Inspires the Desert Eagles? KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. Today, NFL owners made it easier for the Chargers to leave San Diego. They approved a lease agreement between the Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are building a new stadium in Inglewood. The Chargers have until January 15th to decide whether to make the move. Today, the owners also approved a waiver of the league's debt rules. That means it will be easier for the Chargers to finance the $650 million fee they'd have to pay to relocate. The Chargers are playing the Raiders at Qualcomm Stadium this Sunday, and tonight the Associated Press reports the team made nearly $5 million off their Qualcomm lease since 2007. The team gets several different credits to offset their rent. Without that, they would have paid $3 million last year. Yesterday, several city council members sent the team a letter offering a $99 lease at $1 a year. Today, team owner Dean Spanos told the San Diego Union Tribune he's not making any decisions until after the first of the year. San Diego Unified teachers, parents, and students are gathering in Old Town at this hour to show solidarity following the election of Donald Trump. KPBS education reporter Megan Burks joins us now with that story. Hi, Megan.
Thanks, Ebony. I'm here in Old Town where there's a celebration of lights planned for tonight by San Diego Unified. This event was put together shortly after Donald Trump was elected president, and there was a rash of hate crimes and vandalism and discrimination reported at school sites throughout the nation. San Diego Unified voted right around then to show solidarity with their students, and they put together this event. And so behind me you can actually see there's mariachi, there are a ton of rainbow flags. On the other side there's a prayer room for Muslim students. There's also resources for parents who may be worried about their immigration status under a Trump presidency. I wanted to know what was going on actually at the school sites though. Principals, teachers have been dealing with questions from students and parents for several weeks now. I visited Perkins Elementary School in Barrio Logan. Now, about 92% of students there are Latino, and quite a bit of them are in the country illegally, or they know somebody who's in the country illegally. So we spoke with them earlier.
Right after the election, I felt kind of stressed. I felt kind of worried. And now I feel safe.
Am I not an American? Even if I was born here, does it mean that I'm not as accepted as other people are? Those are the kinds of conversations teachers have been having in the classroom in a manner that's most appropriate to the age level.
What really helped with all of this is I teach history, so we've spent the last 2 months teaching the Constitution.
We've been learning lessons about how the president can't really affect so much of the rules because there's checks and balances.
Now, a lot of things are unknown at this point. Teachers don't really have a lot of answers for students, but one thing that they can say definitively is that K-12 schools do not collect any immigration information on their students. They only collect birth certificates, which doesn't say one way or the other whether a student is living in the country illegally. And so they're saying, rest assured, the federal government could not get any information from the schools. They're going to continue reaching out to parents and to students throughout the school year. They also recently hosted a workshop with the Mexican consulate to help answer questions at San Diego High School. Reporting live in Old Town, I'm Megan Burks.
Thanks, Megan. There's been a big jump in flu cases in San Diego County this year. The health department says that the number is up by more than 60% over last year. They're reminding everyone to get the flu shot. The county health department is also reporting an outbreak of whooping cough at San Pascual High School in Escondido. It affected 6 students. All of them were vaccinated. Despite this outbreak, health officials say this year there are fewer cases of the illness than last year. New data reveals an increase in the number of unintentional deaths caused by drugs or alcohol in San Diego County. The Medical Examiner's 2015 report shows out of 510 deaths, the largest number was caused by methamphetamine, followed by alcohol, heroin, and designer drugs. That's an increase from last year. The total number of drug and alcohol-related deaths was 481 in 2014. Nearly 2,000 people died in San Diego County last year. About half of those deaths were accidental. Beachgoers will be able to mix with seals at the La Jolla Children's Pool despite concerns from environmentalists. KPBS reporter Steve Walsh has the report.
We're out here at the La Jolla Children's Pool. We've got some seals in the background here. For the last couple of years, there's been a sign right about here to here warning people to stay off the beach during pupping season. Now, whether or not that sign goes up this year is largely dependent on a lawsuit that's now in appeal. Since 2014, the beach would be closed from December 15th to May 15th. This past May, a judge in Orange County ruled that the ban was illegal and that the beach should remain open. Up until this point, the city has sided with conservationists that say people should be kept off the beach while the seals are rearing their pups. Videos have shown tourists approaching the seals. The fear is that mothers can be frightened into abandoning their pups. John Leake is with the Friends of the Children's Pool. He's part of a lawsuit to keep the beach open. Wednesday, he was out encouraging other people to use the beach.
You can't fall for this business that if people are here, the seals will all run away. They never have before. They're not going to now. They're more acclimated than ever.
It remains illegal to harass the seals. The city has appealed the lawsuit. They're also asking the appellate court to allow the closure to happen on schedule while the case is pending. So far, the beach remains open. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
It's been a San Diego waterfront for more than 50 years, but Anthony's Fish Grotto will close its doors at the end of January. Restaurant officials say the Port of San Diego did not renew its lease. The family that owns the seafood restaurant says Anthony's has served millions of people since it opened its doors in the Embarcadero back in 1965. The family will continue to operate at its La Mesa site. Silicon Valley leaders were among Donald Trump's most outspoken opponents during the presidential campaign, but today many of them met face-to-face with the president-elect. They gathered at Trump Tower in New York. Leaders in the industry were worried he might stifle innovation, curb the hiring of computer-savvy immigrants, and infringe on consumers' digital privacy. But Trump struck a positive message at the meeting, saying he wants to help the tech industry continue to do well.
We're going to be there for you, and you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference. We have no formal chain of command around here.
Apple's Tim Cook, Amazon's Jeff Bezos, and Tesla's Elon Musk were at today's meeting. Trump's adult children also attended. Today, Trump confirmed his pick of former campaign rival Rick Perry as Secretary of Energy. In a statement, Trump says Perry led Texas through a sustained period of economic growth and prosperity by developing its energy resources and infrastructure. Perry says he looks forward to engaging in conversation about America's energy future. From the state Senate office to San Diego City Hall, Councilman Chris Ward says he's ready to take on District 3's biggest issues. Ward was sworn in Monday to replace Todd Gloria, who's now serving in the state assembly. Ward says he'll pull from his public policy and urban planning background. He also says his experience as the former chief of staff to State Senator Marty Block has prepared him to organize local and state resources to tackle issues like a growing homeless population and the need for more affordable housing.
And when you think about District 3 neighborhoods like North Park or Hillcrest that are going for $700,000, $800,000, or rents that are exceeding $2,500 or $3,000 a month, they're just absolutely out of reach for many people that are trying to access our communities and be a part of our wonderful neighborhoods. So there is a supply side question that I have to be able to work on, but not at the expense of radically and overnight transforming a lot of the community character that people love and hold so dear.
District 3 also includes South Park and Hillcrest. Chula Vista is getting its first female police chief. Captain Roxana Kennedy will be sworn in at the end of the month. Right now, she is second in command to retiring Chief David Bejarano. She also is the department's first female lieutenant and first female captain. Vacant lots, blighted spaces can increase crime rates and lower property values. But KPBS reporter Taryn Minto says in City Heights, community groups see the empty spaces as opportunity.
For more than a decade, this barren lot at University Avenue and 40th Street remained an unused and unattractive space. City Heights Business Association Executive Director Enrique Gandaria says over the 12 years he's led the organization, the city-owned space has been a bit of an eyesore.
We'd like to keep the area clean, we'd like to keep it safe, and we weren't very pleased with seeing tractor trailers parked on that lot.
The association paid to fence in the municipal land years ago and keep unwanted activities out. Now the group wants to revitalize the area and recently signed a temporary lease for the space.
We're looking at everything from doing an art show to doing food trucks. Our main goals are to activate the lot so it's not just an empty dead space accumulating trash.
Gandaria says the group was inspired by the success of other lot transformations in the neighborhood. Along El Cajon Boulevard, 2 once empty lots are now buzzing with activity. The El Cajon Boulevard and Business Improvement Association earlier this year leased a city lot that became a pop-up movie theater in the summer. It's now home to Bikes del Pueblo, a nonprofit bike repair shop. Volunteer Hoy V. Win says the space finally gives the group a permanent place.
We've always been located in a garage or a basement or a backyard somewhere in this neighborhood. But we've been wanting to look for an opportunity like this so that we could just do more.
Bikes del Pueblo is open at the site 3 days a week and will host an 8-week repair course that'll conclude with a free bike for participants.
Our emphasis is on passing on skills, sharing tools, and sharing knowledge.
Down the street, the nonprofit City Heights Community Development Corporation acquired a lot owned by Price Philanthropies Foundation and transformed it into a weekly international food market that's also an incubator for aspiring entrepreneurs. Initially a pilot program through December, the Wednesday event has become so successful, organizers are bringing it back in January. The Department of Housing and Urban Development says temporary urbanism efforts like these can be a cost-effective strategy for dealing with vacant land, can empower marginalized communities, and make once vacant spaces attractive to investors. Just this week, it was announced a temporary park in San Diego's East Village will make way for a 66,000 square foot UC San Diego facility. It's set to include academic and youth outreach centers, entrepreneurial resources, and a civic engagement hub. When the temporary park first moved in, the area was just an overlooked plot of dead grass behind a chain link fence. Taryn Minto, KPBS News.
Yahoo has been hacked again. The digital company says hackers may have stolen data from more than 1 billion users' accounts in 2013. The stolen data may include names, email addresses, phone numbers, and birthdays, as well as security questions and answers. This is the second time this year Yahoo has announced a data breach. A federal appeals court says California can make gun buyers wait 10 days to get their weapons, even if they've passed a background check before. The court says the waiting period is a reasonable safety precaution that doesn't violate the Second Amendment. California leaders are looking at ways to lift poor residents out of poverty. Educators, politicians, and scientists met today in Sacramento for the state's economic summit. They say the state needs more housing, skilled workers, and better water infrastructure. California's Lieutenant Governor says helping rural residents adapt to manufacturing jobs can be crucial in bridging the financial gap.
Technology is changing the way we live, work, and play. Technology is radically changing wages and creating so much of the economic anxiety that clearly was front and center in this presidential cycle.
California is the 6th largest economy in the world, but it has the largest homeless population in the country. Yesterday, we took you on a search for a young Mexican man who went missing after crossing the border into the U.S. In part 2 of this series, KPBS Fronteras reporter Jean Guerrero looks at how the San Diego-based search and rescue group for migrants came to exist. A warning, some of the images are graphic and may be disturbing for some viewers.
As Eli Ortiz walks through the Arizona desert, searching for lost migrants, he recalls his dead brother, Rigoberto. Rigoberto went missing while he was trying to enter the U.S. illegally in 2009. His coyote, or human smuggler, confessed he'd abandoned Rigoberto on his last breaths.
Yo me ponía a pensar, mi hermano, ¿dónde está? ¿Qué le pasó? ¿De qué manera murió? Mil ideas que se me pasaban por la cabeza. Y yo de mí me propuse, no voy a dejar tirado a mi hermano.
Ortiz called the Mexican consulates, Border Patrol, and other agencies.
Yo pedí ayuda a todos y nadie me brindaba ayuda.
So he went out into the desert himself with the help of a human rights activist named Rafael Hernandez. Together, they found his brother's body. It was closure for the Ortiz family.
Los familiares la captaron mal.
Inspired, Ortiz launched Águilas del Desierto, or Eagles of the Desert, a nonprofit that searches for migrants who go missing along the border. He chose the name Águilas because of the eagle's powerful eyesight and wingspan. Sometimes the group rescues migrants. Most of the time, the Águilas are recovering their remains.
Que sus familiares se les acabe esa incertidumbre de que no van, que dónde estará mi familiar, que qué le pasó a mi familiar. Entonces darle esa paz a ellos.
On weekdays, Ortiz takes care of North County's verdant avocado farms, a contrast to the dry desert of his weekends. He makes sure the irrigation system is working and that the trees are flourishing.
Me gusta mucho andar entre los árboles, la naturaleza.
Ortiz migrated here from Oaxaca, Mexico's second poorest state. He lives in Fallbrook with his wife and 4 U.S. citizen daughters. All 4 of his daughters are university graduates or college-bound. In his living room, Ortiz listens to messages from the families of missing migrants.
Tengo un hermano con su esposa perdida en el desierto de Arizona. Por favor, ayúdenme. Estoy desesperado.
Ortiz uses Google Earth to get an idea of where the missing might be, using whatever information the family has. If he's lucky, he has a landmark, a mountain range or an arroyo. Sometimes all he knows is where the migrants' journey started.
Que si tenía algo que ver este muchacho con los coyotes.
When Ortiz leaves for a search, he stops in front of his brother's picture and prays.
Cada llamada que yo recibo, cada reporte que yo recibo, vuelvo a sentir lo mismo, vuelvo a vivir lo mismo, vuelvo a recordar lo mismo. Pues lo tenemos que hacer. Alguien lo tiene que hacer.
The deaths started in the 1990s, when the U.S. launched its first major border fencing project, focusing on cities. This funneled migrants into remote, dangerous border crossing routes. Thousands began to die in the desert of dehydration or hypothermia.
Diario se pierde gente, diario se encuentran cuerpos, diario pasa todo esto.
Ortiz tells me he blames the border fence for the deaths.
Pero fue política de Estados Unidos. Fue política de venir cerrándole la frontera y obligarlos a cruzar en los lugares más peligrosos.
And we're going to build a wall. We're going to build a wall.
President-elect Donald Trump has vowed to expand current fencing.
This is pretty inexpensive material to build a fence.
Sean Moran of the National Border Patrol Council supports Trump's wall, but he says geography will make it impossible to seal off the entire border.
There are some areas that you cannot build a fence. It's just the grade is too steep. Or the water table is too high.
Either way, he doesn't think a wall will stop the illegal flow of migrants or their deaths.
If we build a 20-foot wall, they will build a 21-foot ladder and they will try to get in. But until we have good policies that shut down people hiring illegal aliens in this country, we are not going to be able to shut down that flow.
Ortiz believes Trump's signature wall will increase border crossing deaths. Already, people are rushing to cross the border before Trump's term begins. Some are dying on the way.
Madres me hablan llorando y a mí se me parte el alma de que te piden ayuda. Prácticamente eres su última esperanza.
Despite everything Ortiz has accomplished in the U.S., he dreams of moving back to Mexico. In the U.S., he feels discrimination. At the border, he says he can see it and smell it and touch it in the human remains scattered across the desert. Jean Guerrero, KPBS News.
Tune in tomorrow for part 3 in our series, Death at the Border. The Águilas hike back into the desert and run into some trouble. That's tomorrow night right here on Evening Edition. Frontiera's reporting is made possible in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour, Hate in America. An inside look at a white nationalist leader and his neo-Nazi ideology. That's Wednesday on the PBS News Hour.
California Governor Jerry Brown says the state is ready to fight the federal government to keep fighting climate change. Today, he spoke at a conference of scientists in San Francisco, telling them California will step up if President-elect Donald Trump cuts programs like satellites monitoring climate change.
I remember back in 1978, I proposed a Landsat satellite for California. They called me Governor Moonbeam because of that. I didn't get that moniker for nothing. And if Trump turns off the satellites, California will launch its own damn satellite. We're going to collect that data.
Brown says California will set the example for fighting climate change. San Diego is getting a little bit of everything this week. Clouds, sunshine, cold nights, and even some rain. Stephanie Omo has more in tonight's forecast.
We're expecting to see unsettled weather through late this week across Southern California. We have this Pacific storm system that's sweeping across southern areas as we head into Thursday and also into early Friday. So we will see the uptick of cloud cover as we head into the nighttime hours, and also the chance to see some rain break out on Thursday as well as into the day on Friday as well. So for tonight here, Mount Laguna back into Ramona and also Alpine, we're looking at mainly quiet conditions as we check out the satellite and radar back into Oceanside as well, and also San Diego really keeping things on the quiet side. Tonight, once again, we're expecting the cloud cover to build. Temperatures as we wrap things up here in the metro area will be back down into the low to middle 50s. Now, checking out the temperatures across the area here from Borrego Springs down to Mount Laguna. Temperatures tonight will be dropping back into the 40s. Alpine at 44 degrees. Ramona 40. San Diego, once again, we're talking overnight lows dipping right back down to at about 54 degrees. And then we're expecting some of that moisture to begin to creep southward into Los Angeles. Expected to see a little bit of rain there, and also a few showers cannot be ruled out there in San Diego. But across interior sections, it is expected to remain relatively quiet and also mild. Area of low pressure will deposit some snow where temperatures are a lot colder, especially in the higher elevations across interior sections of the Northwest region. Later on this week, once again, it's still going to remain unsettled throughout much of the Golden State here. On Friday this weekend, much quieter, but we get that push of cooler air. So checking out your 5-day outlook along the coast, we're expecting the cloud cover to linger here on Thursday, Friday. Once again, it's going to turn a bit breezy, and also looking the chance for wet weather. So if you are heading out and about, once again, budget extra time. And of course, you want to grab the raincoats as well as the umbrellas. Temperatures will be a bit cooler on Friday and also be dipping back down into the lower 60s this weekend. But it's going to be a lot quieter with sunny skies Saturday and Sunday. A little further inland, a shower in spots during the afternoon hours on Thursday. Once again, we will see the uptick of wet weather on Friday with the passage of that storm system. Notice the temperatures would go from the 70s here tomorrow back into the lower 60s on Friday, and we'll keep temperatures in the 60s this weekend with mainly sunny skies. It is going to be a bit cool there also in the mountains as well. 58 degrees here for tomorrow, so tomorrow is going to be relatively mild or milder compared to what we will see Friday and this weekend, with a chance for some afternoon showers. Also wet weather expected to continue, wrapping up the work week on Friday. Occasional rain, and the clouds really going to hang tough. Temperatures taking a significant dive here back into the 40s. And even cooler this weekend. We'll be dropping to the lower 40s with a mix of sun and clouds. But once again, it is going to turn quite chilly, so make sure to bundle up properly. Your 5-day outlook for the desert. A bit of rain in the forecast on Friday, but things expected to clear up as we head toward the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Here as well in the desert, we will experience a dip in temperatures. I'm Stephanie Omo, KPBS News.
The Port of San Diego is working to see if it's possible to grow juvenile oysters for commercial purposes in San Diego Bay. KPBS reporter Eric Anderson has the story.
Researchers have several small baskets submerged in the water off the city's G Street Pier. Inside are hundreds of small oysters. Research biologist Paula Sylvia calls this a first step.
We're setting up small baskets to collect data, and this is our first location. In the new year, we'll have 5 other locations.
The region's warm water temperatures make it a good spot to grow oysters. They'll start out as pepper-sized flecks. Within a few months, they'll be the size of quarters and ready for sale. Port Chair Marshall Merrifield is excited about the possibilities.
It's not just a great business, and it's not just a great job creator. And we think this is going to be great for our region, but also for the state of California. We're the first state lands trust port to do this, and we want to share this with our other fellow sister ports.
The shellfish can't thrive everywhere in the bay. Some locations are just too polluted, but there are a lot of locations where biologists think they can survive. You can't see the test baskets, which are under the water right now, but once aquaculture starts here, it could be big.
Aquaculture and fisheries complement each other. Here in San Diego, we have a huge market. We have a great climate to grow lots of different species. So the opportunity is big for the United States here to help us increase our domestic supply of seafood.
Commercial oyster nursery operations typically operate off of a barge that could be tethered to a pier or moored somewhere in the bay. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.